My name is Tess Bismail again, coming back with Event Tech Live. My co-host is
Keith Johnston, that guy.
that guy. And we're again coming to you live from Event Tech Live here in Vegas. This is day 2 and we're so excited. Keith, tell them at least one highlight from yesterday.
Wow, that's a very tall order because there were a lot of highlights from yesterday. I think a couple of the ones, especially since we're co-hosting the stage, the Tech Talks Theater. Listening to the gentleman from Google was a huge highlight, and then that last session of the day where they were talking about event technologists, right, and why every organization needs an event technologist, right? And that session was actually so good it went on, and we actually had to stop the session because it was going on for so long. So that's those are kind of two big highlights from yesterday.
Well, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I'm just going to jump right in. We have a guest with us, and you know what? It's going to be a secret reveal. So what we're going to do is we're going to give a scenario. Keith is going to lay it out for you, and our guest is going to give us his best stellar advice.
Okay, and this is actually a guest that I love because he's actually been on the Bullet List, our co-podcast, a couple of times. Here's a scenario. I'm going to actually give you two scenarios. So number one is you have an amazing event like Event Tech Live. You have a hosted buyer program, and now you've got all those buyers, and they're all going to need tickets, plane tickets. I still actually know a couple of organizations where people will send in their preferred whatever, and then the organization sits there and they crunch it.
From an Excel doc too, right? And
Yeah,
it's just like numbers, and then it might be a little color coded.
yeah, yeah, color coded for.
They're advanced.
Yeah, it's got speakers are in yellow, exhibitors are in red, all of that. The other scenario is actually something that happened to our lovely friend Rachel from Snowball. She is one of those people that is coming to this show, and as she's traveling, her flight lands in Detroit, and everything gets canceled. There's all kinds of bad things going on, and now the customer service line in Detroit is probably 58 people deep. And if you're an infrequent traveler and you don't have status, how are you going to fix this? So with those, take it away, Elliott. We want to learn.
Elliott, you said was his name. How are you going to reveal it so early? I mean, goodness, Keith. Here you go.
If that's my thunder, then I don't have much thunder. All right, you got all these folks to book. You got them in a spreadsheet. That's great. Love a spreadsheet. So yeah, option one, I guess you get three options, right? Option one, you collect everybody's information, name, first name as on their ID, last name, gender, date of birth, airline preference, loyalty numbers, known traveler numbers, seat preference, all that good stuff. You collect that, you book on their behalf. Okay, that's actually an awful lot of work, particularly if you care where they want to, their preferences. You also have to know where they're coming from, of course. Okay, so there's one option. You get somebody to do that. Another option, you hire a travel agency to do this for you, and they have travel agents who will do this on your behalf. You obviously have to pay for that, and they'll get it done. Of course, it's 2023, and you've just hired travel agents, and these people are used to booking on their own. They're used to be able to see all the options. So it turns into emails and calls and back and forth. That's a real pain for your travelers. What if there was a modern solution? You're paying for people's travel, so you need control over what they book. You can't give them your credit card. You don't want to reimburse them. You need to say when they arrive, when they depart, where they arrive, come into O'Hare but not Midway, Newark but not LaGuardia, that sort of thing. What's the, how much do they pay, where do they sit? So you need that control. But what if you could let them book themselves with just an email address? So that they're going to enter their own first name, their own last name, their own date of birth, gender. You don't have to collect that on a spreadsheet, which, by the way, you shouldn't do. And all that other stuff, because they're going to be able to pick their own flights. And that's what we do. Head of my mystery company. And not only do we do that, we collect all of the spending data so that you can track your travel spend against your budget for these hosted buyers. Because hosted buyers, your budget is not infinity. You got a budget. You got to make this work. The sponsors are only paying so much. So you can track your budget, And when it comes time to get folks from O'Hare but not Midway, you can go into our tool and download the manifest. So you download the arrival manifest, you download the departure manifest, and you hand that over to your ground vendor, and you're done. No putting it together yourself, no spreadsheet, none of that. You hand it over, you're done. And to get to the second part of Keith's story, when our friend, was it Rachel? When Rachel's flight gets canceled, whether it's 4 a.m. or 4 p.m., you're busy, right? You got a meeting to run. You got your hosted buyers. You got your exhibitors who are coming in and are like, where's my power? And the answer is, I don't know. The vendor left. I didn't get a receipt either. The joke's on me. Where were we? They can call us. So we're 24/7. We're actually a corporate travel agency. We work in managed travel. And so our expertise, whether it's 4 p.m. or 4 a.m., is you're in Detroit, you need to get to Las Vegas. How do we do that? It may not be the Delta flight you originally had booked. Maybe you need to go Southwest through Dallas, whatever. We're there to help. And they call us and not you. So the control that planners need, the choice that attendees want, we actually allow them, if they'd like, they can book, they can call us. 98% of people book themselves online. It's 2023. So control, choice, secure payment is critical. We've got that card in there securely. The travelers never see it. Personal information that you don't have to collect. The data that you need to track against your budget, track your itineraries, and then finally 24/7 service that we actually go ahead and price in so that you can tell your travelers if anything comes up, don't call me, call AmTrav, they've got your back.
Did you say AmTrav?
Did I say it?
Yes, so now we've got his name and who he's with. Well, and I think when we're talking about the managed travel part, I think that one of the, and I'm full disclosure, I'm actually a client. One of the greatest things about your tool is the ability to have all the options. So if you are an organization where, let's say you're doing a conference for 1,000 people, only the board of directors gets their tickets taken care of, and a couple of special speakers and staff, but everyone else is pay on own. You guys have the ability to have all of those different options pre-programmed, including price caps and all of those. So I think that that's another huge thing that you bring to the table, where you no longer have that poor admin or whoever is the person that's entering all of that information, checking the price of the flight, and then oops, that one's a little bit too high, but this one is okay, but it's out of the dates we need. So you guys actually, I think people would love to hear more about the other types of options that you can build into this to make your life as the show organizer easier.
And I do remember ground transportation too, if I kind of remember back in the day.
Yep. So, actually, the way I'll answer your question, Keith, is by we're lucky that we're a smaller company, so we can listen to customers and update our tool. So one of the first pieces of advice that you had was AmTrav gives you the ability, AmTrav Gathers, our product. Hey guys. Gives you the ability to invite folks via an email with a link in it. Keith said, don't do that. I need a link that I can give people. I don't want another email. I don't want it coming from somebody else. I know I can customize who it's from, but give me a link. We did that. We've had clients planning 200-300 person meetings using that. That was an all hands meeting. Of course, we get incentive travel. We get medical education, because again, you got to pay for it and you got to have control over what people are booking. Incentive company meetings, a lot of nonprofit as well. So we did that. What else? The ability to filter and sort through your meetings. We have folks who have an awful lot of meetings and they want to be able to filter and sort. So somebody comes to us and says, look at my meetings, this is a mess. And we say, let us take a look at that and figure out ways to filter and sort through those, making it easy. Another thing is, if you're a travel, maybe you've got multiple planners at your company, you don't want to get involved in every one. You don't want it to run through you. So 2 things that we did. One is that you can give other people the ability to access our tool, AmTrav Gather, and 2 is you can partition it so that people can only see their own meetings. So these are things that have come to us from planners.
And that's huge. The ability to have that, that's huge, right? If you have, there's up in Chicago up the road from me, there's a really big pharma company, right? And they have probably 50 or 100 planners, right? So everyone can have their silo, but you as the top organizer can look into all those silos and get involved when you need to be involved.
Exactly. So, to your question, Tess, ground transportation. Look, I'm going to be honest. Looking at the camera. 2 things I'd say. One is, I'm going to get to ground transportation. Should I start with ground transportation? I'll start with ground transportation. There are some things that we're very good at. There are some things that we're not as good at. We can help out with ground transportation. We did have somebody who wanted like buses to Modesto once, which was like 3 hours north of San Francisco. We can do it. It's not our strong suit, but we can help. It's not online. We're not, that's just not our wheelhouse. And we'll be honest with you about that. And if somebody has if somebody can help us get there and they've got business and we can potentially build it, we'll look into it. The other one is, what about hotels? What if you like the service that you get from a really big travel company with, they plan your hotels, they plan your space. Or you're a planner and you've got an IATA number and so you want to plan that hotel space, right? Am I going to come in and try to grab that business from you? No. Our business works fine on flights. We like hotels. We love hotels. Everybody knows why. But we don't have to have hotels. We're going to respect your boundaries, we're going to respect your customers, and we'll be very happy giving them a great online travel experience plus the offline service they need. We're also adding the ability to change your flights online. That's coming here in the early second half of the year. We'll be honest about what we are and are not good at, and we'll also, again, respect our customers' needs. If they're going to do the hotels themselves, we're really happy to help plan those 1,600 travelers just their flights. We can make that work too.
Well, see, that's good to know because anything that'll help me relieve, if I could hire someone who just handles all of the flights and logistics, and then you're saying that I can turn over that responsibility to them, let them manage it, and I can look at things from a high level. And I think that's really, truly what we want. We want the data, we want to be able to manage, but most importantly, we want service, and we want good customer service so that people feel like they have a safety net, especially right now with flights being so crazy and the hospitality industry having to deal with our events are highly affected by not just hotel challenges in terms of service, but most importantly travel, especially last minute travel.
Yep.
So, wow. I didn't know where I was going with that. I actually, now I'm kind of back to where I was. But I think the biggest thing and the coolest thing that you guys do is the ability to hotels, no hotels, those types of things. Because you will get some organizations, especially smaller ones, that don't, they don't know hotels, right? And so now they have a partner they can trust to help them find hotels and book hotels. But if you're, an experienced planner or you have a big team and that's already done, great. You know what? That's fine. And that actually was a big selling point for us beyond the fact that, I've always loved AmTrav. But, that is one of those things that just makes it work well.
So we have a question from our audience. Thank you so much. We're so excited because we love engagement. So Joe Floyd, who we adore and love, the production king, he said, this is better than a virtual assistant. And he says, can they help negotiate group travel rates too?
Yes, we can. I just confirmed too, Southwest still has their meeting rates. United, Delta, it starts at about 50 travelers on the airline, so say 100 plus travelers overall. If you're going to Baltimore, you're probably going to have a lot of Southwest, so that's about 100. But yes, we can do that. We also, yes, we can help out with that, along with if you need it, room blocks, that sort of thing. But again, if you're going to do the room block, you do the room block. Yeah.
Yeah, And I'm going to say one of the other things about that's really cool about working with a smaller company like yours, and you're not a small company, you're smaller is the way we should put that. Is when I came to you a couple weeks ago and I said, hey, we have a client that's in this country, and you were like, oh well, hang on, we don't take payments in that country. Give me a minute, and then you come back around and going, yep, we'll be able to do that by the time that they need to go live, right? That's awesome. I didn't have to go out and find a new vendor, just because this one client wants to pay in a currency that isn't common. So there you go.
Yeah, and I think if we utilize technology, which is what we always say, as a tool in our back pocket to help us do what we do better and not look at it as replacing people's jobs, it's just getting us, our brains to do what we're supposed to do, not necessarily the monotonous work. We can think better, and then we'll have better partners. And then what? Our events will be much better. We have another question. Do you mind?
Sure.
Okay. This is from Quayle Carson. Hi, Quayle. Do you help individual business owners with no employees with travel?
We absolutely do. AmTrav, so a little bit of backstory now that we're not anonymous anymore. We actually date back to 1989, a dorm room at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor, where our co-founder and current CEO, current owner, part owner, actually I guess both of them, president and CEO, Jeff Klee, Craig Fichtelberg formed the company way back when. The AmTrav arm started about 12 years ago and Gather's about a year old. But that corporate arm, we've got over 1,000 customers, corporate customers, anywhere from, as you say, one person who just travels often and wants, your unused tickets kept track of, your receipts kept track of, your hotel, all your loyalty stuff kept right in there, plus that 24/7 support. Yes, we do support that. We love those folks. And as a matter of fact, we get planners who do both their own travel and then use Gather for coordinating travel on behalf of clients. So yes.
Good. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I wanted to talk about the expense part, because you're able to kind of keep track of everything, and it's not just reservations only, but you really can have it as an all-in-one encompassing piece.
I tell you, there are two places where I could see the product going. I'm going to get myself in trouble here. Because the
Juicy. Get it now.
The CEO does the product and I do the marketing. I have some say. But he owns the company. He got us through COVID. Two places, two things we want to solve. One is plus ones. Hosted buyer, right? Okay, you're going to Orlando in February. That sounds great. You know who else wants to come? The spouse, the friend, the whomever, but you don't want to pay for them. Like, you'd love for them to come. It's going to make the buyer happy. Great. Well, we need to be able to handle that online. So that's one thing that's coming. There's kind of another flavor of that, which is, I'm the CEO. You're going to put me in economy. I don't love that, so I'm willing to pay more to get into first. We need to handle that as well. So that's one thing that's coming. The other one, I've just forgotten. It's not the point of sale. Yeah, that's great. Expenses. Yeah, so I just presented Gather last week and somebody said, great, what about all these expenses? We have partners who do that. We actually have our own expense tool as well. But I'd tell you, if clients came to us and said, help me with this, help me with, the bag fees, the whatever, the Uber and Lyft around, that's something that we could do. We'd invest some more in it to make it work well, because that's critical. But we collect that. We're able to hand that over to the planner so that they can get those reimbursements taken care of, or we integrate and make those reimbursements happen. So yeah, those are two places I could see us going.
Oh, perfect. So I'll give it back to you in a second, Keith. But I think that the key that we've always tried to communicate to our viewers and listeners is technology companies, especially event technology companies, are our partners. So you heard what he said, which happens to us often, is if you're working in partnership with them and you need something, they should be able to listen to you and find a solution or help you come up with something, even if they can't develop quickly, or maybe some can, or maybe it's just a quick fix. Any of those things, you should be constantly communicating with your partners to make this a journey and a road for better on both sides.
Yeah, and and kind of bringing us, full circle. If you look around this room, the technology companies in this room that I feel are the most successful and the ones that I work quite often with are the ones that listen to the needs, the ones that, there's actually a tech company right over there that when they were first up and coming, just like with AmTrav, we were like, no, 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 can you do it this way? And they all sat down and went, oh, wow, we didn't think about that, right? Because, they're programmers, right? They went back, they made those changes, and for me, it was immensely helpful. So having a partner like you know, takes the stress. Let's be honest. Technology is all great, but if you can help a planner get rid of the stress, get rid of the mundane things that really hamper their job, then they can go back to being creative and creating amazing events for their attendees.
Absolutely. Any last words that we'd like you to mention? Can you please, for a slate for us, first name, last name, name of company? We know the services now.
Awesome. I am Elliott McNamee. I'm thrilled as always to be here with Tess and Keith. I seek out Keith's opinion often, and Tess, you're going to be on that roster too. I'm with AmTrav Corporate Travel. We run AmTrav Gather, the tool that makes meetings and events, travel, planning easy. We'd love to hear from you. We're at AmTrav, AmTrav.com. LinkedIn, find us. We love our customers. We love talking to folks.
Well, thank you, Keith. You want to say anything to our audience before we sign off?
No, because we'll be back in just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll be back in a little bit. We're also, don't forget, hosting the Tech Talk stage, and it's a lot going on for the rest of the day. Thank you. Take care from the Event Tech Pull-Up.